Hey guys, and welcome to another one of my videos. Today we will be drawing another picture. Figure that. This is some videos of, again, time at the ranch, and then also here's a video of me walking the dogs in the trails. Happy times. I love being outside, so such an outdoors person. So it is witch season or spooky season, October, my favorite time of year. This is what we'll be drawing from Louis Co. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. But today we're going to be drawing it, and then also I'm going to animate it. This here is my attempt at drawing stars because the background had stars. And I was like, you know what? No, I have a stamp. I'm just going to stamp it. Whatever. I got frustrated with it. I didn't want to draw it anymore. So I went the easy route and just plop stars. Sometimes stamps makes things easy. And honestly, I don't think it's really necessary to always draw everything. But I try. And then it just happens this way. So once I finished the background, because I actually wanted to do the background first, I then started sketching out the picture. If you guys have watched my videos before, y'all have seen how I start sketching and then do line art. Well, with these animated characters, things are a little bit different. And that is because I sketch everything all at once. And then once I start doing the line art, I actually have to do the line art separately into each layer. That's just how I do this. And so I can kind of manipulate those layers. And I'll show you kind of what I'm talking about when I open up Procreate Dreams. But I sketch everything out. Normally, if I'm just drawing a picture, I would do the line art all in one layer. But like I said, in this instance, they're all broken up. And then what's going to kind of look weird is when I'm drawing each particular piece, the thing is sometimes I'll overlap the lines and it'll look weird, but it's needed for the animation. And that's because sometimes when you move something, it can leave gaps, and I don't want to leave gaps. So to make things easier, I add extra line art to the particular piece. And then what I do with that line art as well is I'll color it even past where it's supposed to be. So when I'm breaking up each layer, I'm also breaking up the coloring as well. It takes a little bit longer, but I think the end result just looks amazing. And I've been obsessed with Procreate Dreams. It's so much fun to do. And it's very simple. I think I'm still learning. I'm still testing waters with it. So I will show you guys here in a bit kind of what all that looks like. So this first part, I pretty much put majority of the standstill stuff that I'm not really going to move a whole lot, or maybe not at all into one layer. And that is like her neck, her head, and what she's wearing. I don't really add much movement to, I don't think I add any movement to this. So this is pretty much just standstill. But for sections of the hair, I will do it on separate layers. Sometimes I'll do the eyes on separate layers. This one, I didn't really do that because I didn't animate the eyes. Sometimes I think I will animate the eyes, but I will probably do that within the Procreate Dreams itself and just draw eyes opening and closing as like a frame thing. So like as you can see here, as I'm drawing the hat, like the hat goes past the ribbon, and like you'll see it'll go past the hairs, and that's just so when the hair moves, it doesn't create a gap. So a lot of times when you're making an animation, you really want to, like I said, draw past the area that you're not going to see. So you're not, so like this ribbon here, for instance, all the way to the right. So I want that ribbon to move. And if I want it to move, like I don't want there to be any gaps, so I'm going to pull it out. And so I have to draw that extra line, which looks stupid because, well, why you don't see that normally, but in animation you will. So it all makes sense. But if you're wanting to do animation, you're going to want to do this piece by piece if you do it my way. Again, there's multiple ways to do it. I think the layer way is just the easiest way. Is just draw it all in Procreate and then move everything over to Procreate Dreams. There are a couple ways that you can do animation. One of the ways is you can do it frame by frame. I personally like the warp and the distort tools. I think that once I draw it in Procreate, because I know Procreate, And Procreate Dreams doesn't have all the features as far as I know. It doesn't seem to have all of them, or it's missing some features in the Dreams. So I'd rather just draw it within Procreate and then move it over to Procreate Dreams. What's cool about Procreate Dreams though is if you guys have never used it, you can move layers easily over, and I'll show that here in a bit, but you can also move brushes or anything that you would normally use into Procreate Dreams, and the mechanics are a little bit different, like erasing or undoing. You're going to use like finger taps and stuff, which is a little bit different than just regular Procreate. I think they do that. They leave certain features out so that you buy Procreate. They don't want you to doing everything in Procreate Dreams and then like you only purchase the one app. I'm assuming that they want to do it so you can purchase both and use both. One of the things that I noticed while coloring this picture was I felt like I added a lot more detail to my coloring process. I think because I treated each piece of the artwork a little bit differently than I normally do. I normally see the artwork as a whole, and taking into account each piece, each leaf, each ribbon, each little section kind of forces me to spend some time adding detail to each little section, and honestly I kind of like it. It's a little bit more time consuming than I normally would with just drawing, but because I'm forced to spend a little more time thinking about each section that I took apart, it allows me to really put a lot of focus in that and spend some time making that particular, even if it's just a small piece of the artwork, make it look better, and really spend time coloring it, making it look, I don't know, sparkly, I guess, because I like drawing or coloring in a very sparkly like way. This honestly has given me an experience of really forcing me to spend time on the small details, because I'm not really a detailed person, but doing each section, actually it's kind of enjoyable. Even though it's a little bit more time consuming, I think that actually spending time coloring the small things, doing the little things, helps me actually really focus on those things. And something that was initially a challenge for me has become a bit of an easier process. So what did I really think about this piece? Because I always talk about that. This particular piece, I love the end result. I was really happy with the animation. I honestly wish I got more videos of some of the animations that I did that I don't believe I showed you guys. And I think one of them is the leaf animation, but that's okay because I think I'm going to do another leaf animation in the future, and I can film that and post it in a video. But the animation of the leaves falling, I didn't do in this video. However, it's honestly a cute little animation. I can show y'all if y'all are interested in learning how to do that. My goal with this piece was to show the wind flowing through her hair. That was my main goal in the ribbons. And I really think I accomplished that with this particular piece. It's really the first time I've done one of these, so because I'm experimenting and I'm learning, it is a process and something that as I continue working with animation, I'm going to want to perfect and get better at. I like the idea of wind flowing through someone's hair, so I really want to draw more, I think more like anime characters with that flowing effect. And on Procreate Dreams, I found it to be somewhat simple and easy to actually do. So I did want to go over a little bit about Procreate Dreams. It is a little complicated to learn Procreate Dreams. I do suggest watch other videos. You can watch my videos. I'll probably be going through some of the motions with Procreate Dreams, but it is a little bit more complicated than just Procreate. I think there's a lot more shortcuts to learn. There's things like to find them. It takes a little bit to navigate, but it is very simplistic. And I've had people give good and bad reviews for Procreate Dreams. I wanted to kind of stick with it because I already work with Procreate, and it's just simple to stick with Procreate and move it into Procreate Dreams. And I have another one that I do want to try eventually, and that is Calipeg, mostly because I believe you can do some small rigging things in Calipeg. I might be wrong. I eventually want to get into rigging. I know it's very complicated, but with my style, I just wanted to first start out simple and just draw my pictures and have them animate, but it would be really neat to eventually be able to rig a full-on live 2D character or something like that. Would be so much fun. I think it'd be a lot of work, and I think it'll be time consuming, but it would be quite a fun project. But overall, what do I think of Procreate Dreams? I like the program. I actually give it an A+. I mean, it's really my first animating program, and I think because it's so simple, I like it. As a beginner, I think there are things that can be done a little bit better. Obviously, with anything, there's certain things like you can do in the program that I'm noticing that you can distort certain pieces of certain layers, but if you distort them, you can't move them, or you can't do other effects. So like that kind of, I don't know, was a pet peeve of mine. I don't know if I'm just not doing it right. Again, I'm still noob, so maybe there's still more I have to learn. But overall, I think if you're a beginner, it is a very easy program. It's very simplistic, and I think if you're just trying to learn how to animate something, I think it's a good purchase. The frame by frame is pretty simplistic too. It's pretty easy. So if you're interested in that, Procreate Dreams, I think, excels at frame by frame. But I don't do as much of the frame by frame. I think the only thing I do that's frame by frame is more so if like I want to do a blinking motion with the eyes, I'll draw them out frame by frame. Overall though, I don't know how much I'm going to be using that. Maybe I'll do it more, but I think that's where it really excels. I typically use more of the distortion stuff, which I'll show you here in a little bit. The only thing that is really bad about animating that I also noticed is you have to watch how many layers you have in Procreate, because Procreate only has so many layers that you can do, and depending on what piece you want to animate, the more detail of the animation, like the more you want moving, essentially, you're going to need more parts and more layers. And I think that can be a hindrance when you're using Procreate. I just know Procreate, I've been using it for a while now. So here we go. You pick a size. I already picked square because to me square is easy. My character is already on a square, so that's where I started. Once you pick your square, essentially like what you see here, I moved over the layers, fairly easy. I split the screen, moved over the layers into Procreate Dreams. And once I do that, I have to take each layer and move it all the way into basically vertically so you can see the whole picture, otherwise you'll see overlapping. Now when I move everything over, I don't know if it's the size or what, but it comes out as smaller than, it doesn't fill up the whole picture. I don't know why it does that, honestly. So when you are resizing it, I usually group them together, and when you group them together, at that point you can resize the entire picture. So that's kind of what I did here. Anyways, this is not really a tutorial. I'm just kind of showing you some of the little things that I did. So here I resized it, and then I start using the distort tool to make her hair look kind of like it's flowing in the wind. And basically I rinse and repeat for every section of hair that I did it on. As you can see, like here, you can see kind of the hair moving as I distorted it. So I mean, again, this is probably very amateur. It's just something that I was just playing with, and I liked the end result. So as I get better at it, it will probably look different, look better. But in essence, basically what you have to do when you have a Procreate image, you have to take all the layers and basically move them over. You split screen it, move it over. I mean, there's other ways, but that's how I do it. But you move them over to Procreate Dreams. Once they're in Procreate Dreams, then you can play with the layers. I would put them all horizontally just so you can see the picture, and then I group them to resize it so it's all one group. And then I believe you can group within groups, but I didn't really do much of that with this. I pretty much stayed on the layer that I was working on and moved that layer. So as you can see, like the hair, I'm just picking that particular hair piece and moving it. and it creates that effect. And that's what I mean by each layer. You have to be careful with how many layers, because how many moving parts in this picture, it might be very simplistic, but for maybe something that's more complicated, has more hair, maybe it's going to take a bit more layers. Just be aware if you're using Procreate that Procreate is limited. So the features that I'm using here are the distort, but when I use the distort, I also use the recording aspect of it. So it's recording as my mouse or my pen, really, that I'm touching and moving. It records that motion that my pen is doing. So that's what the square is. You can individually do your own movie points where you pick where you want the movement to start and where you want it to end. Right now I'm just pretty much experimenting with the record part, because the record part to me is easier. And with some of the other ones where you're really picky, so like this right here, I don't know why it does this. Like, you see how the lines, you see how they're just so long and so spread out? I'm not sure as to why it does that, but if you get out of the program and go back into the program, it will fix that issue. I don't know why. So guys, this is the finished product of the picture, and here you're about to see the animation at its finish. I love it, super happy. Little leaves, I'll show you how to do it in a future video. So this really wasn't a tutorial. If you guys want a tutorial, let me know and I can do one. Anyways, if you like my video, like and subscribe, leave me a comment, and like I always say, don't quit creating.